My name is Linda, and this is the story of how a girl with clutches, who everyone laughed at, became someone they would never forget. I was born on a rainy Tuesday night in a small house at the edge of the village. My mother, Mama Linda, said I didn't cry loudly like other babies. She also noticed that my legs didn't move like they were supposed to. The doctors later said it was a nerve problem from birth. I couldn't walk, and since then I have used clutches to move around. People whispered, "That girl can't even walk." They didn't say it to my face, but I heard it. Even as a child, they thought I was weak. They thought I was nothing. My mother didn't care. She loved me like I was her treasure. But life didn't stay sweet for long. After trying for many years, she couldn't give my father another child. And then, one day, just like that, he brought another wife into our home. The second wife didn't even pretend to like me. She looked at my clutches the first time she saw me and hissed, "This is the child, useless." And from that moment, the name stuck. I still remember the sound of her slippers as she entered our house. Flap, flap, like she was coming to take over. Auntie Julie, my father's new wife, had skin like cocoa and a loud voice that made even the lizard run. She brought a big boss and a small smile, but her eyes, cold like harmattan. That night, she told my mother to sleep in the small room near the kitchen. "You have had your time," she said. My mother didn't argue. She only nodded and walked away slowly, carrying her pride like a broken plate. As for me, Auntie Julie didn't hide her feelings. "Move out of the way, clutches," she shouted the next morning when I was walking past her to the bathroom. The house changed. My father, who used to play Ludo with me in the evening, now sat outside most times, drinking and pretending not to hear when Auntie Julie insulted us. One afternoon, she looked at me and said, "You better learn how to cook. At least make yourself useful." That day, I held the cooking spoon like it was a weapon. I told myself, "Linda, even if they call you useless, you will show them one day." I didn't know my chance would come so soon. School should have been a place to learn and laugh. For me, it was a battlefield, and I was the only soldier with clutches. My classmates didn't know how to be kind. Some of them would walk slowly in front of me on purpose, pretending not to see me. Others would hide my clutches and laugh as I crawled around like a baby. Even the teachers wasn't much better. One day, during morning assembly, the principal asked everyone to pick up a chair. I couldn't. Of course, my arms were busy holding my body up. I stood there embarrassed while some kids giggled behind me. But I had one friend, Uche, the boy with big glasses and a small head. He was quiet, always reading and never laughed at me. Sometimes he carried my books or fetched water for me when the bucket was too heavy. Uche once told me, "People called you useless, but I think you are the bravest person here." I almost cried that day, not because of pity, but because someone finally saw me. Still, I kept my mouth shut and my head down. I knew something they didn't know. Even a small fire can burn a big forest. It happened on a Saturday morning. Auntie Julie told me to fetch firewood from the back of the compound. It had rained heavily the night before and the ground was muddy. "You can crawl if you like, but don't come back without that firewood," she shouted as she pounded yam loudly in the kitchen. I looked at the sky. Dark clouds were gathering again, but I didn't argue. I grabbed my clutches and began the slow, painful walk to the backyard. I slipped once, twice, then my right clutch got stuck in the mud. Before I could pull it out, I fell, face first, into the red earth. My wrapper got dirty, my knees ached, but I didn't cry. From behind the wall, I heard laughter. Auntie Julie. She had followed me silently and was now laughing like a mad woman. Even the ground is tired of you, she said, walking away. I sat there for a while. The firewood lay beside me, and the sky finally opened. Rain poured, but I still managed to drag myself up, grab some sticks, and return. Wet, dirty, but strong. That was the day something changed in me. That day, I stopped trying to be liked and started planning my rise. That night, Mama and I ate in silence. The roof dripped. The kerosene lamp flickered. Then Mama suddenly said, Linda, do you remember what I told you about your grandmother? I nodded. Grandma Ada was a herbalist. They said she could talk to trees and heal the sick. She died before I was born. Mama went into her box and brought out a small wooden necklace. This belongs to her, she said. She gave it to me when I was pregnant with you. She said your daughter will walk one day, not with her legs, but with her strength. I stared at the necklace. It didn't look magical, just old and brown. But Mama tied it around my neck and whispered something in Igbo I didn't understand. Then she looked me straight in the eyes and said, they will call you useless, but your name will be a key one day. Don't forget, my child, your journey is not ordinary. I didn't fully understand her words, but something about the way she said it made me sleep differently that night. With hope, with fire in my chest, I didn't know that the next week everything in our lives would turn upside down. It started with a screen. We were in school and Mrs. Amaka was teaching social studies when Jennifer, the richest girl in our class, fell to the floor. Her eyes rolled back, her hands twisted. She shook like a wet chicken. Everybody screamed and ran except me and Uche. I couldn't run and Uche refused to leave me behind. Teachers rushed in. The principal called her parents. The next day, it happened again, but this time to two other girls. The same signs, the same shaking. People said it was a curse, others said it was food poisoning. But I have seen something, a strange mark on Jennifer's hand the day she fainted. It looked like a leaf, a glowing one, just like the one Mama once drew in her diary. Was it a coincidence? I went home thinking about it. Something inside me told me this wasn't ordinary, and I would soon find out that this strange sickness had a connection to me. That night, while Mama was boiling water, I sneaked into her old box and found the diary. I had seen it before, but this time I looked properly. On one torn page was the drawing, a glowing leaf with strange marks around it. Underneath, Grandma Ada had written, only the pure-hearted will find the leaf of light. It grows by the forgotten river. I whispered the words out loud, and the wooden necklace on my chest grew warm. Just for a second, I nearly dropped the diary in shock. The next day, I told Uche everything. I expected him to laugh, but he didn't. Instead, he said, what if this is your calling, Linda? What if the village needs you? Me? A girl on clutches? I laughed, but deep inside me, something had started to wake up. 3 days later, everything changed. The chief's only daughter, Adaku, fainted at the market square, right in front of Mama Julie's shop. She was shaking and fuming at the mouth. People screamed and carried her to the palace. When the news spread, the whole village panicked. She is the fourth one, people whispered. It's spreading. The chief sent for pastors, herbalists, and even a man from the city. No one could help. The sickness didn't respond to medicine. Mama looked at me strangely that night. This is not ordinary, she said. Again, your grandmother once spoke of such a sickness. The cure is hidden in the forest, but only the girl of pain will find it. Girl of pain? I asked. Mama looked at my clutches, then away. That's when I knew she meant me. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the leaf of light, about the girls who were sick, about the way my clutches sank into the mud, but I still rose. The next morning, I stood before Mama and said, I want to go to the forest, to the forgotten river. She dropped the cup she was holding. Are you mad? I can't sit here and do nothing, I said, my voice shaking. What if it is true? What if I can help? Auntie Julie overheard and burst into laughter. You? Go to the forest? You can't even climb a step without gasping. But Mama didn't laugh. She looked at me long and hard. Then she opened the old cupboard and brought out a small black bag. If you must go, then take this. There's bitter cola, white chalk, and palm oil. And don't forget what I told you. Your journey is not ordinary. I packed the bag, tightened my wrappers, and kissed Mama's hand. Even if I returned with bruises, I was going. For the first time in my life, I chose my own path. The sun had not fully risen when I stepped into the path that led to the forest. Uche insisted on coming with me. You will need someone to carry your stubborn self when you fall, he said, smiling. We laughed, but I was nervous. The path was overgrown. The trees whispered. Crickets hissed like old women gossiping. My clutches made soft clack clack sound on the forest floor. Hours passed. We walked, rest, walked again. My arms ached, my legs burned, but I didn't stop. Suddenly, we reached a part of the forest that smelled different, sweet and sharp, like mango and pepper. There was a stream nearby, and then I saw it. A single leaf glowing gently in the middle of the stream, shaped just like the one from the diary. But before I could touch it, a shadow moved behind the tree. Uche froze. Did you see that? I nodded. Whatever was in that forest didn't want us to live with that leaf. As we stood frozen, the shadow stepped into the light. It was an old woman, or at least she looked like one. Her skin glowed silver, her eyes were white like milk, and her feet floated above the ground. She wore beads on her arms and leaves on her hair. Why have you come here? She asked in a voice like wind and thunder. I wanted to speak, but my lips were dry. Then I remembered what Mama said. Your journey is not ordinary. I stepped forward. Please, people are sick. I need the leave. I think I am the girl of pain. The spirit floated closer. She looked at my clutches. Then she said, your legs were weak, but your spirit is stronger than 10 warriors. Take the leave. But remember, the journey back will test your heart. I reached into the stream and picked the glowing leaf. Instantly, the necklace on my chest began to shine. The forest lit up, not with fear, but with hope. We didn't sleep that night. With the glowing leaf tucked in a calabash Mama gave me, Uche and I made our way back through the dark forest. Strange noises followed us. Ow! Drums, even laughter that came from nowhere. At one point, my clutch snapped in half and I fell into the mud. Uche tries to carry me, but I stopped him. Let me try with one, I said, using the unbroken clutch like a walking stick. Every step hurt, but I refused to stop. At sunrise, we saw the village roof in the distance. People gathered when we reached the gate. Some gasped, some laughed. What is she doing with a calabash? I didn't answer them. We went straight to the palace. The chief's daughter lay on a mat, shaking with fever. I opened the calabash, crushed the leaf, and mixed it with water. Mama hid my hand as I gave her the drink. Then we waited. For a long time, nothing happened. Then Adako, the chief's daughter, stopped shaking her hands. Relaxed, the sweat on her forehead dried. She blinked twice and slowly opened her eyes. The crowd gasped. She's awake. She's smiling. The chief ran to her, crying, "My daughter, you are back." He turns to me, still kneeling on the ground, covered in mud and holding half a clutch. "Who are you, my child?" I looked around at the villagers, the same ones who used to whisper mock and call me names. "I am Linda," I said, "the one you called useless." There was silence. Then one of the women began to clap. Another followed. Soon the entire palace compound was filled with applause, cheers, and chants of "Linda, Linda." The chief called for a village meeting. Everyone came, even those who never left their shops. He stood and raised his staff. "This girl has done what kings, pastors, and doctors could not do. She has saved us. From this day forward, no one will call her useless again." Then he turned to me and said, "What do you want, Linda? Ask anything." I smiled. "Give my mother back her respect. Let her return to the main house and build a classroom for children with disability like me." Tears rolled down Mama's cheek. For the first time, Auntie Julie had nothing to say. She just looked at me like she had seen a ghost. Uche stood beside me, grinning like a proud goat. That day, the same people who mocked me came to shake my hand, give me gifts, and say sorry. Funny how life changes. A few weeks later, the chief fulfilled his promise. Mama moved back into the big room. I was given a new set of strong clutches, and the classroom was being built behind the school. I still couldn't walk like other girls. My legs were still bent, but my walk had changed. I now walked with pride. And sometimes I would sit under the mango tree with my diary, smiling as the little children gathered to hear me speak. I would begin my story like this. They called me useless, but the same mouth that mocked me now calls me Linda the Brave. Don't just watch. Feel it. If Linda's courage touched you, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Never call anyone useless. Thank you for watching Folktale by Chinelo.